Howdy all, I have got a marvellous treat. You know the name? Therianthropy Andrew H? Well, I haven't done an actual Therian video on this channel for a while. Why? Because I've either A, covered everything, or B, want to do a remake of pretty much all my videos because I need to update them because I don't agree with everything I say. I just haven't got around to it. Once again, my video editing software is broke, and I'm using a free download, and all it does is pictures and sound files, which is why I'm doing it like this. So I apologize. You don't get to see my very animated self. So yeah, this is a Therian video. It doesn't really have that much of a topic, I suppose. This will be a rambling video, and if you don't like rambling videos, then why the hell are you subscribed to me? Any hoozle. So, as you all know, I consider Therianthropy to be a psychological thing. I do believe that it brings with it some form of spirituality, but I think that's, for me, it's non-fantastical spirituality. For example, I've used this example before. If I go into some kind of, wild environments, normally forests or mountainous areas, I'll feel, or snowy regions even, I'll feel very, very at home, very at one. Now, this does not mean I'm connecting with the energies of the forest or some kind of forest spirits or talking to me or something like that, or my auras. Obviously if you know anything about this kind of thing, you can probably guess that I know nothing about it. Only what I've heard people talk about. So this is nothing like that. This is pure emotion. This is an emotional response. Now, once again, I don't claim to know anything about psychology. I don't claim to know anything about it, but this is the kind of thing I'm going to hit on this. Now, it's just kind of like the example where you wake up in the middle of the night and you see a shadow at the bottom of your bed. Depending on what you're inclined to believe in, you're either going to see maybe a ghost, an alien, an angel, or a burglar. Perhaps you think it's a figment of your imagination and go back to sleep. Or, any number of other things. So, with Therianthropy, depending on what you're inclined to believe, you're gonna make of it what you're gonna make of it. Now, the interesting thing, in my experience anyway, with me, is I have Asperger's syndrome. And people don't realize the weird way the mind, an abnormality, because I think a lot of people don't like the idea of Therianthropy being classed as a psychological thing because they don't want it classed as a mental disorder. And no, it's not a mental disorder. Mental disorder implies there's something wrong with it. Therianthropy, as far as I'm concerned, is a psychological abnormality. It's different. It's abnormal. But that doesn't mean it's wrong, right? But anyway, I have Asperger's syndrome, and this affects the mind. And now there's lots of different symptoms, and it affects people in different ways. But one I have is a little thing called, one of the few symptoms I have is a thing called hypersensitivity. And as the name suggests, hypersensitivity essentially means that you're hypersensitive to certain stimuli. For example, I get hot really easily. I get hot really easily. It can be the middle of winter here in the UK, and I will be sweating. I will be boiling hot. It can be a snowstorm outside, and I can be running around in shorts and a t-shirt and feel perfectly fine. If I actually, on the rare occasion I get cold, all I need to do is throw a blanket over myself for about 2-3 minutes, and I'm boiling hot, so I take it off. Of course, my mother annoys me because she always says, "Put the fire on," and then I get really hot. In fact, quite a few times I've just left the room or gone up the stairs because my mother's cold and she's got the fire on full blast, and I'm sitting here feeling like there's a volcano just erupted. That's hypersensitivity. Another way this affects me is with my sense of smell. Certain scents really irritate me. Some chocolate smells are too much. But the really bad one is freshly baked bread. boy, is that bad. It is so overpowering. If I'm around it, I feel as if I'm choking. It is that bad. It's like I'm breathing in smoke. I inhale, I just can't exhale. It's such a strong smell to me. And this is hypersensitivity. This is a thing to do with the brain. People don't realize how the brain can affect everything else. Um, so obviously, I have Asperger's syndrome. I think in a very different way to a lot of other people. I behave in a slightly different way to a lot of other people, but I see the world in a pretty different way to a lot of other people. But the thing is, it's very hard to notice. Um, and especially since Asperger's syndrome is a pretty new thing, people don't know that much about it. I only know as much as I know because I've read into it a lot for obvious reasons. Now, then we have Therianthropy. And since I'm an Asperger's syndrome, I can't help but connect the two. It's something that makes you feel very different. You think in a different way. You maybe behave in a different way. Sure, you can control it. It may make certain aspects of life difficult. And it may make certain aspects of life a lot better. That is like Asperger's syndrome. My social anxiety has been the hardest obstacle in my life, and it is still a major hurdle that I am struggling to cross. But I love the way I think. I love the way I think. I love the way my brain functions differently. I love some of the little quirks I have because of it. Asperger's syndrome is not a completely bad thing. It's a bad thing because it's destroyed a lot of my life, to be honest. But here's where philanthropy is different. When I say things could make your life difficult, I'm referring to, once again, social anxiety. I've noticed that a lot of kin, at least ones I've spoken to, are very. I don't want to use the word lone wolf, or outcast even, but they're they're kind of, well, maybe self outcasted. They're socially awkward. This is not all kin, but this is a kind of a lot. Um, and I think part of this is to do with they're part animal, at least psychologically. And an animal around a bunch of humans, there's a very different there's a very different brain thing going on there. Animals think differently from people. There are some similarities, but they think different. Um, and where philanthropy affects me is there are little things, and they're very hard to explain. I feel like a wolf most of the time. The most obvious of this is with my eyes. This is incredibly difficult to explain. But some people have put this down to a continuous phantom shift, but I don't think it is. But essentially, what happens with my eyes, it always feels like something looking through. Like I've got the perspective of something looking through my eyes. Like I'm looking through my own eyes in a different perspective. Like I've got, I don't know, but once again, could this be a psychological thing? Because I wear glasses, and my eyes are pretty bad. I think I've got some kind of my eyes are shaped differently. I don't know what the optician said last time I visited, but my eyes are shaped differently. They're narrow or something, and the light can't get through them. I don't know how eyes work, but you know, um, but yeah, I'm rambling again. But because of my Asperger's syndrome, because of how much I've looked into it, the more I think about philanthropy and how the brain can affect people in different ways, even make, even make sort of, even affect the senses, I can't help but connect the two. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who's a kin has Asperger's, and I'm not saying that everyone with Asperger's is a kin. I have made a video on this before called Asperger's Syndrome Therianthropy, and it needs to be updated, and I'm guessing this is what this video is. But, it's maybe not the same thing, but as a person of who has a psychological abnormality, and who is more of a science and logic kind of person and has never really been otherwise. Sure, there are some things in life that it's sort of the paranormal, the fantastical side I kind of sway to, like the idea of energy manipulation. But once again, I put a logic side to this. I think once again, maybe this is a brain thing. For example, I get energized by rain. Rain makes me feel so alive. I'm always more awake and more energetic during the night than I am the day. Why? Maybe because it's water going on my face in the rain that's waking me up and energizing me. Maybe the air is cooler in the night. Maybe that's why it's doing it. Maybe it's some kind of emotional response, psychological response. I don't know. Just like when you're around certain people, you can get energized by them. You can feel much more perky around them. Once again, I don't really think I'm sucking the energy out of these people. I can't really believe that, but maybe it's some kind of psychological thing. I don't know. I don't claim to know anything about this kind of thing, but this is just how I'm thinking. But I can't help but think that therianthropy is a psychological abnormality. This, again, is not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. Classing it as a psychological abnormality does not mean you have something wrong with you. It means you're different. And really, who the hell wants to be normal? Okay, there's another word for normal. It's called boring. It's called average. It's called same old. It's called commonplace. Who wants to be normal? Nobody wants to be normal. We all want to be individuals. So having a psychological abnormality can help to your individuality. At least that's the positive way I look at it. You know. At least with Asperger's syndrome, I don't really need to look at therianthropy in a positive light because I can't really see a negative side to it. But anyway, I would love for there to be, I've said this a few times before, I don't think I've ever said it in a video though, I would love for there to be a non-biased psychological study and medical history study on a bunch of different kin who each hold different beliefs. And I would love to see if there is some common trait with us all, some brain pattern, something in our medical history, something that makes us tick differently, something that causes this. I don't want a cure. God, no. But the idea that something can cause this is fascinating. You know, a non-biased psychological study done by a skeptic. Somebody who neither believes nor disbelieves but is fascinated by it. That's what we want. We want someone who has the connections to put a genuine, official psychological study on a bunch of different kin from different walks of life and beliefs and age groups, and to see if we have some kind of trait that causes this. I would love to find that out. But yeah, that is I think the conclusion of the video. Just me talking about how therianthropy fascinates me. It is Asperger's syndrome fascinates me. Maybe it's me being self-obsessed and trying to reason everything out, but it's interesting, and I'm almost going to hit the 50-minute mark. So this is Therianthropy Andrew H giving you, for once, your much, much needed braingasm.